Hello guys, I'm back with another episode, and in today's episode I will reintroduce this Royal Giant Skeleton deck. The reason why I'm doing this because if you guys know, a few weeks or maybe a month back I introduced this RGGS deck, and it's actually my most viewed CR YouTube video over here. So if you guys missed that out, don't forget to check out this video. So the only difference in that deck and this deck is I swapped the Bob Barrow for the log. So my reason for doing this because I think I see a lot more Zappies, and if they play their Zappies low, the Earthquake and log can take it out. But if if you have the Bob Barrow doesn't reach, and then the Zappies get way too much value against your RG and stuff like that. So in today's video, that's the only difference. It's the log for the Bob Barrow, but it's pretty interchangeable because sometimes in certain matchups you need the Bob Barrow where you get the extra ground troop. So without further ado, we're gonna see you guys in the first game. Alright, the first replay over here, I'm gonna show against Logbait. So according to API, it's slight matchup for the Logbait. Even though it seems like we have RG Earthquake, we can break through that Inferno Tower. But you gotta remember, RG Earthquake is 9 elixir, 6+3 against a 5 elixir Inferno Tower. So it's not always you will have that much elixir, and then he could Ice Spirit Log, or if he baits out your log, well, he can use his Goblin Gang also. Alright, so over here we had to cycle the log against that spirit, and then we put ourselves in a bad start. Alright, so we had to reset the princess with the E-Spirit, and then you can see the hunter trying to clean up the Goblin Barrel, but because of the knight tanking, we took like 1700 damage off the start. So very bad start here for me, but as always, we don't ever give up. So we try to play patiently, and now we know that he is playing Logbait, right? So we know that we have to either bait out the Inferno Tower with the GS, or try to go with the RG Earthquake and then save the log on offense. I think always the key is to save the log on offense, because you gotta defend the barrel with something else, because if he defends with the gang, then you'll be in trouble. Alright, so over there I'm comfortable taking that princess, and I didn't try to predict anything. So over here we see he play his gang, and then he's very aggressive, so he's gonna be ready to go back for another barrel, but this time I have my lock inside. So he spends a lot to defend that giant skeleton, and then no problem for us. We have a nice elixir lead now. We cycle this in the back. Right, so this is it. I know that his gang isn't in cycle yet, so I decide to go with the aggressive RG here. He places that princess, which was the mistake, because after that he didn't have enough for the gang. And then we go with that, because when he doesn't have his gang in cycle, then the fisherman can slow the Inferno, plus the Earthquake and then the RG. So we get back in the game over here with that amount of damage. Right, so basically that's the overall gameplay against Logbait. So this one he throws a Fire Barrel in the back. I decided not to waste the log. So I think it's very key against Logbait that you have to defend one push without the log, because you will need the log on offense. Right, but also you gotta always start the push in the back most of the time. It's very hard for you to go at the bridge. Okay, so I was afraid of the princess now, because now it's double elixir, it's getting close. A couple of rockets, the princess hits, then we will lose. So we decide to split the Zappies here. We go with the RG aggressive because the GS is there tanking. Alright, we have the GS tanking. Now you can see I use the E-Spirit there, and then I decide to take the rest of the damage from the barrel. No problem, because I know I need the log on offense. So over here we get the very clean log on the spirit and the gang, which is what you always need against the Logbait. If you always take the log for the barrel, you're most probably gonna lose that game, because you can't break through his defense. So again, we defend without using the log. So again, you can see here I will have the log on offense. So again, we go with the RG aggressively because we know we can have the log on offense. Then we go with the Earthquake. The Infinite Tower wasn't locked on the RG, so that gives me a good couple of seconds. Over here again, we go with the log. Once we see the gang, he places his spirit all in a straight line. So that's GG for him. So even though a bad start, we managed to overcome it. So I would say the key against Logbait or any bait deckers, you gotta try to defend one set of barrel or one set of Skelly Barrel or something else without using your spell, because you will need your spells on offense, especially the log in this case. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next replay. Alright, welcome back guys. Okay, in this replay, we are actually facing a very off-meta control deck. I would say it's off-meta because it might be popular before spells were nerfed. But after spells were nerfed, we don't see this too much, alright? So as I always at the start, we're trying to figure out what he has. So he cycles Skellies, and then he poisons, and then that's already weird because graveyards don't really run Skellies right now. So poison and Skellies just makes me think, what is he doing? Or what is he playing? And then here you see he gets a King Tower activation with the Ice Whip, so it's definitely not Expo because Expos don't run poison. Okay, so a King Tower activation with the E-Spirit doesn't really hurt us too much. Right, so I decided to protect with the GS over here just because he played his ground tank. So in most decks they usually only have one ground tank, so We're comfortable using the GS here. So what we're trying to do over here now, you see, we pulled it over. We're trying to go with a double lane pressure. But unfortunately, the GS doesn't tank for the Tesla. If the Tesla was on the Giant Skeleton, the RG would have gotten a lot more hits on the tower. But as you can see, we only got one hit. And as you can also see, the King Tower activation doesn't really affect the RG too much, because that's my win condition, and it doesn't even... the King Tower's range is not there, so there is no problem cycling the E-Spirit at the start. Alright, so again he goes with the Valkyrie in the back, so more or less now we are almost certain he's playing some Spell Cycle control deck. The question is whether he was running Earthquake or whether he's running Rocket, right? So he goes with the lock for the extra chip, so now he's starting chip, and I believe over here he goes with the Poison again. Okay, so now against this kind of decks, it's very hard to out Spell Cycle them because they have 2 spells, so that is the main thing. Never try to Spell Cycle against a Spell Cycle deck because they have 2 spells and you only have 1. Because it might look like it's very hard to break through. So we're gonna see how we do that later on. So we go with the lock here. I believe we put the GS in front to block and try to get some hits. Alright, the GS is mainly to tank for the Tesla or to tank for the Princess Tower and stuff like that. We go with our own Earthquake. Unfortunately, we missed the Tesla. But that's fine. The GS, our bomb, cleans it up. And now we know he's guaranteed playing Spell Cycle. So we know we cannot go with just the Earthquake cycle because he has Earthquake and Poison. So he cycles faster, we will lose out in the Spell Cycle. So we gotta try to think of a different approach. Alright, so my approach here is also always first try to get the Valkyrie over on my side. Because the Valkyrie, if we put everything together, the Valkyrie's Flash plus the Ice Wisp pull is actually gonna destroy all your troops. The Ice Wisp are slow, the Tesla, he has a lot of things, and he still has NATO. So GS in front now. So now we have a GS bomb, we try to go with the Earthquake. Again, the Tesla is a little bit too far. But we do get some damage in just with the Tesla. It looks like we are leading because of this Earthquake cycle, but I know I cannot out-cycle 2 spells. So over here we go with the GS in the back this time, so we have to start from the back, because every time I try to do at the bridge it doesn't work, so we gotta try something else. So it goes with this Ice Wisp there. Okay, so over here you're gonna see, because of the Ice Wisp NATO, we know how strong it is from Splash Shot, right? So I decide to go with a double lane push. Just because the double lane push doesn't give him that ability to get a whole big Ice Wisp NATO push. So over here I go with the Earthquake, still on the side that I want to attack. So that's really... the RG is just as sort of a distraction. We still are gonna focus on one side, but then we look at that, the left side is actually going down pretty well. Alright, so over here, we were waiting, so we cycled the Zappies. He saw 2 Zappies there, he decided to put the Ice Wisp there, so that was his mistake, I believe. Because the Ice Wisp is the only one that can slow it down, and I can't kill that Ice Wisp. So over here we go super aggressive at the bridge because he cycled that. And then over here, the RG is there, the Tesla was in a bad spot, so I know I didn't have to Earthquake the Tesla because it was on the GS, everything was on the GS. So that was fine. So over here, this is where we get our breakthrough, because he cycled the Ice Wisp in the back. And now we get very strong hits from the RG, 690 to 1250. We go with the Earthquake also. Again, I know that it's gonna be very close if I go with the Spell Cycle, because now you see he's just spamming his spell, so I have to go with the RG at the bridge. We know we need the RG. Then we go with the log, and that's within Earthquake cycle, just for a bit of pressure, because when I go with the RG, he is guaranteed to need to actually defend it. Of course it was within Spell Cycle range, because Earthquake does 297, but if I Earthquake the tower, I would get it faster. Alright, so I hope you guys understand briefly how to play against such Ice Wisp control decks. The Ice Wisp is actually the key, because the building you can Earthquake and you can break through. So you gotta look at where the Ice Wisp placement is. The rest of the things like the Valkyrie you could hook away with the Fisherman. The Ice Wisp is placed very low, he can protect it, and you can't kill the Ice Wisp. So once the Ice Wisp is out of cycle and stuff like that, that's when you can go with the punish. If not, always try to set up a push in the back, because he can't really punish you. He can just only spell cycle. Alright, I'll see you guys in the last replay. In this replay, we're gonna go through against a very weird graveyard deck. So it's a double Prince plus a Knight, so he has 3 ground tanks. So okay, well, we'll look at how we handle this matchup. So again, at the start, always cycling Zappies in the back. You can cycle, you can even cycle GS in the back if you have Fisherman and cycle, because Fisherman can pull. Okay, so we go with that, and then we're just basically waiting to see what he has. He goes with the Mega Minion. We'll just wait. The key now when you cycle the Zappies is don't cycle your Hunter, the next card, because if he has Balloon or something, he's just gonna go opposite lane, and that's gonna be power for him. Alright, so never cycle your Zappies and your Hunter together. Alright, so now he goes with the Graveyard, so we know it. The Hunter is placed here for supposedly optimal splash. Then we have to put in the E-Spirit as well, just to make sure we don't take too much damage. But off the start, 1000 damage taken. Just because he went Prince Graveyard at the bridge. Then he has a Knight, then it makes me think, you don't usually see Knight and Prince in the same deck. So he's playing some form of Graveyard variant, and then now we know we gotta be careful. Because you don't really have like super good Graveyard defenses. You gotta use your spells, you gotta use your lock, your E-Spirit and stuff like that. Alright, so over here we go with the aggressive RG because we know he doesn't have a sprint, he just used it. Then he cycled it back, but because it doesn't charge, we get actually very good hits from the RG. Zappy is also there to slow down the Mega Minion, and luckily the Mega Minion just comes over with 1 HP. Not much of a problem. Fisherman stops the charge, and both towers shooting. So that's always key. Try to put your Fisherman in the middle if you're not looking to activate the King. So that will give both towers to shoot, and then you don't have to spend an additional response. Okay, so it goes with Eos there. Again, we're trying to cycle in the other line, because I know against Graveyard, if we trade with him, if he goes with like a super big push and I can't defend, a trade is good for me. So over here, it's key, right? You gotta defend it right. So we go with the Hunter in the back first, take out the Eos, and then the Hunter takes out the Knight, and then the Spirit helps to clean up that up. Okay, so now we know he has only Prince left in cycle because he just played the Knight, so that is his only ground tank. We go aggressive with the RG because the bomb is there, and then we go immediately with the Fisherman because he will play his Prince. The Mega Minion doesn't get like super good DPS against the RG. Then we go with the additional Zappies just to make sure we clean up everything. One mini stun on the Mega Minion gets one more shot, and that's with an Earthquake Raid. So again, we block the bridge with the Hunter, we go with the Log. We don't have to defend perfectly, we don't have to like even Earthquake that, right? So we don't have to deny every single damage, it's not the key here. So over here we go with the Zappies, he goes with the Poison, he's basically just spamming because he knows we can take the tower. So that is key. I would say against this Graveyard deck, my both defenses against the Graveyard was key to winning this game. It looks like you don't have like the super like good defense, whether it's a Poison, a Dark Goblin, or Baby D Barrow kind of thing against the Graveyard. But if you work around with your troops, I think you can defend the Graveyard decently, especially using your E-Spirit and Log and Earthquake. Your spells and your spirits, they can actually clean up the Graveyard pretty well. Alright, so I hope you guys like this series again of this RG gameplay. I might do this deck as a main deck this season, and hopefully we'll try to work towards that top 1000 finish. We've been getting a lot of love on Twitch, so I hope you guys can also give me some love on my YouTube, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out.